So when I give lectures in India, sometimes, for the Russian-speaking population, because I don't speak any English, so sometimes Hindus, they also come to listen to me. So sometimes they could sit through the whole lecture. They also applaud, which is everybody else. They laugh. And then, as a rule, after the lecture is over, they come to me and they say, thank you. And then I ask, do you speak Russian? They say, no. So how did you listen to me? They were like, we were listening to you with our hearts. You see, such interesting episodes happen. We use words, like common words, when we communicate with each other. But the atmosphere that is created is always different. So what's the reason? Same words, truthful, but nevertheless, some truthful words, they motivate some lack of trust, sometimes conflict. But in other cases, a truthful word can cure, can heal. So what's the secret of this harmony? So we are talking about harmony today, right? So we've been talking about it for 2 days. This topic is really interesting, very current, necessary. Well, this is our mission, to make our life perfect, harmonious. If we take a look at the definition of this word, the harmony is conformity, the unity, right? So sometimes things that contradict each other, sometimes they're even in conflict, but they can turn out to be harmonious in the end. So if we understand ourselves as harmonious people internally, we just live with it. Even if we are surrounded by, when we are surrounded by other people, right? We try to achieve this harmonious state of mind. So let's just dive into the definition of this word. First of all, let us speak about disharmony, something that gets us off balance. So this condition of unity, what is it that gets us unbalanced? So this psychology is kind of inborn in our modern notion, understanding. No, it hasn't been like that always. So people sometimes are born with quite a unique view of themselves and the world itself. I haven't seen so many people like these people. So usually, generally, we have this inborn inclination to our own position, opinion, lack of agreement that confronts my internal understanding, and we think that this is our nature. Until we get in contact with another anonymous nature. First of all, the first thing that I read about it was Puranas. You know, people call these children differently, like brilliant people, indigo children. It turns out that different people are born all the time. Vedas say, no matter how you are born, or how you come into this world, you are born in ignorance. And then you gotta awaken yourself to feel the happiness or the realization of yourself. And until you understand this aspect of happiness, you cannot be harmonious with the external world, because you'll be unsatisfied. You come into this world as a consumer, as the one who demands, criticizes, expresses disagreement. He wants to change everything, so he becomes the source of problems. So each and every one of us can be either the part that can solve this problem or can cause problems. So that's why Vedas say that we need to be reborn. We need the second birth. No one is satisfied when he or she's born, right? The first thing that we do when you're born, we start crying. You just start crying. You see this hellish world and you start crying. Remember, a newborn baby. You see in the eyes of this little infant, look into his eyes, you'll see something totally different. It's not even a baby yet, it's a living entity that comes into this world totally unprotected, looking for something, screaming like crazy, totally insane, like what's happening, what's going on? He doesn't even know his name yet. Of course, he'll get to know that. So you'll be told that, okay, this is your sister, your mom and dad. You say mama, daddy, and you start understanding something, building some relationships. So what's the harmony about? Eating, sleeping. That's when your harmonious life begins. You see, you don't need to learn how to sleep and eat. It happens automatically. But the inborn consciousness says that this is me who's doing the eating, this is me who's doing the sleeping. Or you're just a biological automatic machine or something. But the person understands all these things differently. So I've just recalled one verse from Bhagavad Gita. So we are talking about disharmony, right? So it's a very ancient shloka, mantra. You can call it anyways, verse, mantra, shloka. So the first line says, material nature acts. Prakriti means material nature. So everything that we see around, it's called the movement or the activity. The Jagat, the whole universe. It's always changing. It never stays in one place. Converting, changing. Everything's changing all the time. So if we take a look at all this conglomerate, aggregate, all these universal movements, we won't be able to even understand what's happening. And this is all is under the control of the material nature. It's called Prakriti, one organism that acts, enacts all these processes. Sarvasha means everything, totally everything. So what gunas of the material nature do? So guna means quality, right? You don't see, but the guna does. So let me explain it to you. It's not like I don't see anything. It's like I'm living a dream. So you can say, I don't see it because it's just a dream. I don't see the reality, I just see the dream. So guna karmani sarvasha means that a man sees this world in one way, a woman totally in another one. The guna sees. So women are these guna, men are of different guna, and they perceive this world differently. So they feel this world, they sense this world differently, they understand harmony and love, these two words differently. But a child, it sees this world in a totally different manner. Adults or old men, old people, or ill, sick person, we all see this world differently. So different gunas of nature influence us. That's why we see this world differently. So what I see? I just see a guna that I'm in right now. If I put on red glasses, everything becomes red, right? I see, but in what quality? So in what quality do we speak the truth? Very subtle moment of the harmony. If we say truth in a bad quality, this is lie. According to this statement. So say truth. And the truth motivates me to speak. Sometimes rude. Sometimes even force someone just because I'm right. And I don't even see where I'm wrong. So you gotta tell the truth with love and patience and desire to help. So that's what the truth is about. So truth is actually the quality. You see, this truth could be shallow or truthful. Many times of truth, right? See, there are many people that violate the harmony of this world very often, just because they have basis, fundamentals for that, because they can enter this conflict. Isn't it so? Don't we just enter a conflict because we think that we are right? We can even punch someone in the face. Right? So this righteous person becomes an aggressor. What kind of guna is that? The lower guna. The lowest one. It's like he's telling the truth, but it doesn't become truthful anymore. Just becomes not right. So gunas of the material nature, they do everything. I'm like an observer. I'm just experiencing my body eating, drinking, sleeping and stuff, and I can't cope with it. I just can't cope with it. I'm short-tempered, but what can I do with it? I'm not in control of myself. Then I regret. I cool down very fast, but every time the same thing happens. This is my nature. So I'm subordinate to this nature. So how do I become harmonious? How to live with this nature? So this line is kind of rebuking or condemning. Don't even want to translate that one. That's special for you. So mudha means ass, donkey, a stupid person. Vimudha means a big, dumb person. Ahankara means the false ego. False me, it is said, is a big donkey. I thought that I was totally independent from this nature. I think that I am doing everything. I eat, I sleep, I get married, I grow children. This material nature just acts. So what am I doing in that case? That's the question. So this is another question, the question of harmony. So far we're talking about disharmony, about some false things that are not corresponding in our notions. So for example, we know here, in this festival, that a person is like a toy, this Russian toy, when one piece is inserted into another one and then into another one, like layer by layer. So ordinary and extraordinary people, they see this life differently. So sometimes we think that if someone is physically present here, that his soul is also here. Maybe he's flying somewhere else. So the consciousness, the spirit, can be in different dimensions, can be living in different dimensions. On the planet, for example, or on the sun, on the moon, can eat ether, can breathe air, or can be living in water. So the living entity itself, it's not actually dependent. But being born in a physical body, it becomes subordinate of this physical life, and it starts breathing air. So I breathe, you see, because there's a subtle body in this physical body that feels this layer. It feels it. Listen to this voice, to watch videos. So tactile perception is the most powerful one. Just look at our skin. Soft bed, and you feel harmony, full harmony. You see when you have a big bed, everything's perfect, you feel maximally harmonious. But to hear in this condition is almost impossible. It's very difficult because your consciousness starts falling asleep. So you just turn yourself off. So that's why many sages used to say that comfort is actually horrible. If you're striving for the comfort, you'll only be upset and irritated. You'll be criticizing because comfort deviates or disrupts the mind of a person. But if we are sitting on nails, we can still hear. This is amazing. When I was visiting some pilgrimage places, it was really hot in there. We were just walking barefoot on the stones. It was very hot. It's just incredible ascetic austerity. So you were supposed to just listen. And I thought to myself, how can I be listening to anything? Feeling all this pain in my body. So the most interesting thing is that I still remember all these episodes when I was listening to a lecture but was feeling uncomfortable. So my consciousness was so acute, and my heart was so much open. But comfort, on the vice versa, seems to be comfortable, but your ability to listen, now it actually diminishes. It's just the excitement of a brain. Just gold and money and soft bed. In Sanskrit, it's called Hiranyakashipu, one of the great demons' name. So Hiranyakashipu, that's what it means. Soft bed and gold. So if we're only interested in comfort and sensual activity, then we'll not be able to hear what harmony is. You gotta hear the harmony inside of your heart. So far we are talking about disharmony and the reasons for that. So stupidity is the reason number one. It's like donkey-like mentality. So you think, the person thinks that, okay, I'm a master of this world, I can do whatever I want, and I can control my life, I can be charged of my life. You know, we say that he's very silly. But you see, from the point of view of some achievements, he could be a great person. He achieves great power and wealth. He may reach some knowledge, great knowledge, but the harmony, it's different. Everything that we accumulate does not belong to us. And then accumulation, it's not actually inherent to any living being. So in a wheat field, for example, some birds come, they eat something, they fly away. But if a person goes there, he'll take everything. Just leave him without guard, he will steal. So animals will not harm you so much. And at the same time, scientists say that birds are enemies, insects, some animals, because they harm our savings. So not any living being on this world, except human, does not harm this world, and this harmonizes it in such a way, just except the person, a human. Only person can lie. No one else can lie. Everyone is following to the nature. Everyone is innocent, just like children. So cats and dogs, they just follow their nature. So now with the nature of the snakes, you can even talk to a snake. They just communicate to each other. There are some people that communicate with sharks. So how can you communicate to a person that is so reluctant, for example? He can be pretending. He still thinks about prestige. Every one of us has this prestige. And he uses this subtle body, subtle intelligence. Because there's something inside of him and it's really hard to understand the way he keeps this harmony. He supports this harmony. So sometimes I get so much confused that I cannot even understand who I am. Seriously. The most difficult problem of the humanity to understand who we are. Sometimes we say, I've lost myself, I got confused. Who am I? What am I supposed to do? How do I become happy? Impossible questions. There are no questions, no answers to these questions. But we tell the truth, but sometimes we should not. So first of all, you have to express this consciousness, and you have to be able to listen to a person. This festival is called the virtue of benediction. We're supposed to be talking about love here. And if we get some information, it doesn't bring me to the harmony. These all notions, they become unacceptable or sentimental, not practical, idealized, utopic ideas. Everybody speaks about love in summer house, but it's just to attract more people. But there's no solution. So people, they just strive for the comfort, and they become even more unsatisfied. That's what the life is about these days. So Puranas say that the beginning of Kali Yuga, you see what people did? When Kali Yuga just started, like 5,000 years ago, this epoch of Kali, of the spiritual degradation, consciousness. So they've made my thing. So they open this degradation way. They've seen just one thing. And if we understand how to work with it, probably we'll get happy. So it's hard to do it massively, but some people will. Be successful. So qualities like greediness, lust, and anger are natural. So this is the nature of a person. That's what they say. It comes from Gita. As a matter of fact, this nature does not satisfy any living being. If you want to feel this nature. So this nature is always inclined to be balanced. So if I feel lust, I motivate lust in some other people. I urge. And these things, they start conflicting each other. It happens automatically. If you see someone enjoying his senses, automatically my senses, they want to do the same thing. But if someone is screaming at you like crazy, so you want to scream back, automatically. So these qualities have been confirmed as nature of people. So all these disadvantages, they're open just to start the age of degradation. This is the Kali epoch. So to start it, you need to confirm these principles as truthful ones. And people will be following this way, this path. Because I can say, these are nature. You look at the animals, I'm sorry. They live just like normal animals, nothing's happening. So children say that only the stronger ones, they make it, they get alive. That's why we are in war all the time. Right? We test our vehicles. There were some ethics, I know, in the past. But now I can't even imagine that. So you had to be really moral in the past to become a hero, a true hero. Here, the first time in the history of life, Quran was used in order to frighten the enemies. So this was the first time I faced the terror. And then where's morality after all this? So then the general came out, a successful one. He said, you don't understand the progress. It's been proved by the science. Only the strongest ones survive. This is the progress. That's the nature of us. And everything just got quiet. So see, we're talking about that has become science, that has become science, like integrated entity. If you use some special terms in order to understand what philosophy you are scrutinizing, people would say like, well, what is it? What are you doing? You see, this world is created in such a subtle way. So I've just accepted this lifestyle, now become a liar. So hedonism is about satisfying your old desires. And I think that when my desires are all satisfied, I think that's what the harmony is. All right, everything is perfect. Everything is perfectly done for my senses. The weather is perfect. The run is perfect. Money and stuff. But yeah, this could be a little bit of harmony. Okay, but the earth is not this place, such a place. We need to put a lot of effort in order to create this paradise. Only some of the parts of this world could be used for something higher. And sometimes these rich people, they buy some islands. Why did they do that? Just come there, get undressed, and that's it, just lie on the beach. Pure water. And then people, they just get tired so fast. Everything gets tired. So the spiritual nature of this desires are limited. And Vedas say that in Vedas you can enjoy all these qualities 1,000 times more actively, more effectively. So in this subtle world, people just communicate with each other. Entities communicate with each other with no physical body. That's the point. So the source of happiness, gets bored. The power of my senses is not enough, although in previous epochs, people used to be much stronger. Okay, in Mahabharata, there were some people described, and also there were some situations, and we could just compare us to them. So now this world, it's not like we are born. We are born with some chronic diseases already. Mind is very jumpy. We can't concentrate deeply. Our life force is very weak, so we are inclined to some sicknesses. So the fighters in Kurukshetra, they would sometimes pierce one another. So they just had another living force. The medicine was different. So one king, Parikshit, he was cursed to die within a 7-day period. And just because this was the son of a Brahmin, so this curse was supposed to happen. So only 7 days he had left. So he had a question to the sages. So he was the king, right? So what are the responsibilities of a person when you're waiting for the death? What will you do? So you just have 7 days to live, and what am I supposed to do now to finish my life correctly? So that's when it all started from. We'll just pass by, that's fine. We need more air here, I think. More air. Is it better now? You feel better? So the doctor is here. So this person will be okay. So let's try to think something positively, something inspiring, in order to support this person. So don't be afraid of it too much. So the laws of the nature are very strict, and every one of us is under the influence of the laws of the nature. You're not supposed to be afraid, just do whatever it takes to feel better. So Parikshit said, what am I supposed to do? I have only 7 days left. And Shukadeva Goswami, he started answering his questions. So it's in Bhagavata Purana. But the main thing is to listen, only listening. So if there's a taste for the listening about the absolute truth, for this person there are no other obligations and responsibilities. That's the peak of perfection. But if he hasn't developed the taste for hearing yet, it's probably he can't understand everything or accept or believe. But, there are different people. So there are responsibilities that will help him to purify himself in order to start hearing, listening to his heart, to the heart of other people. So the truth is in every human heart. We can achieve a lot by just hearing, by just listening. Well, yes, this sound could be covered with enmity, aggression, lust, greediness, but initially it's pure. Our ability to listen is like the ability of a swan. If this swan is given some milk concentrated with water, it'll drink only milk. So, be able to listen the most sacred parts. Every one of us has something sacred that we cannot even express. Not everyone is capable of expressing it. But even animals, they have it. Birds. The person, of course, he wants to express himself, but it doesn't come out so easily and beautiful all the time. So we gotta learn from someone that can hear you. Someone that can hear this beauty and see the potential. So that's when the harmony begins. So there's only someone that has to hear. Just like in our family. You see people that cannot live together for a long time if they speak simultaneously. If just one speaks, so the family will be lasting much longer. If 2 people speak at the same time, the family will probably not last for so long. So there's got to be one person that speaks, another one that listens. Not just to, subdue someone, but just to understand. When we get into relationships, just to listen to each other, to understand each other deeper. It's not so easy, of course. So when you need to listen, you got to be very patient. You need all this patience and humbleness. It's really hard. It's a hard task. Sometimes you can't even listen to truth. Totally unbearable. Like, shut up, shut your mouth, I'll kill you right now. That's what we say to each other. It's hard to hear all these sounds. You see how powerful it is when it enters our body, what it does to us. In Puranas, it is said that evil words, they come before you die. They're like evil omens. So there are some Parahamsas, people that do not even hear bad things. They think that this is just kind of, when the wind blows and you see this, there's something on the surface of the water. So that's what they compare with these bad words. And the love and gratitude, they don't have any limits. They give them out totally, completely. So these are great people. They're so harmonious, and this harmony is reached quite easily. In our understanding, sounds like totally impossible. In our understanding, this is just comfort, so that everything is comfortable, convenient, so we don't bother each other. Well, yeah, you also have to understand it. So how do I tell the truth without making this person feel uncomfortable? Who knows this secret? So I don't these people that he's stupid without making him feel bad. How to do that? What kind of art is that? So how to become rich and not to become greedy? But stay harmonious and friendly to each other without the feeling of supremacy and enmity or hatred. So it concerns our development. So we want our economy develops, our personal life, right? So we are rich and happy. So how do we keep this harmony? Not all. Can all the people be equally rich? Can all people be equally happy? No, it doesn't happen like that in our life. You see, the laws are so severe. So no one is sick, right? But you can't do anything about it. And there are no healthy people right now on this planet. It's not like about your body. It's about the satisfaction on your mind. In this understanding, in this sense, there are no healthy people on this planet. So there's got to be a healthy spirit in a healthy body, that's what we say. Your internal world is even more important than your external one. Because this external beauty, it comes from the internal energy. We are very interested in that, aren't we? We need this energy, right? The harmony is always an exchange of energies. When we don't lose this energy, but it always grows, the energy of happiness and enthusiasm, we call it development. Is it even possible? So look around. Look how many resources you have. Just understand what's happening there. So many possibilities, it's even impossible to imagine that thing. And all of these things are given to us. If we want to develop, we just need to know the method. So these spacecrafts, will they help us? But our internal content, yes, it will. It's a very potent power that we have inside of us. And it's just totally limitless in its imagination. Just like yesterday we were talking about who I am. And we can reach everything we want. So I want to be everywhere. I want to know everything. I don't want to limit myself, neither in space or time. I don't want to be afraid. I just want to be happy. I just want to love and be loved. There are so many more things. So harmony, when we understand it as one whole thing, the first thing that we want in this world is to know what kind of nature this is that surrounds us. This is the first stage in knowledge. Education. We gotta be educated. So what is it that surrounds me? So that's the virtue. Knowledge is virtue. That's where development of a person starts from. And then the second step is the desire to make this world a better place. That's the passion guna, guna of activity. We get education in order to act. And the third step, to enjoy this world. So this is the guna of ignorance. So the purpose of our development is to become an ignorance, an enjoyment. Yes. From the point of view of gunas, that's exactly how it looks like. So it's a wrong approach. It's kind of right, but not really. The object is not right. So don't try to subdue the material nature. It's like we think that we can change it. But he's a big donkey because the nature acts by itself. And the person doesn't know that he's also an instrument of nature. Don't think that only person has some intelligence. The nature is also very intelligent, extremely intelligent. Let's look at this professor, for example. He's such a great scientist. But no one admires the fact that the nature itself has created the intelligence of this person. You know why? Because we think nature is dead or something? So how can I admire it? So that means that there's some consciousness above the nature that we have to admire. So we gotta find the object of the rightful admiration. That's when we feel this energy. If we admire someone and get under the influence of this person, it's not good, but if we worship the higher forces, we get the qualities of this higher entity. So the object is not chosen correctly. The object should be I am, to understand who I am, to transform who I am, to make myself a happier person. So these things, they become truthful. The lie is in the fact that a person is trying to change the world without changing myself or himself. But just stating that is actually silly. The method is kind of right. It's the knowledge, activity, and result. But we also have to see the object of where to direct my knowledge. The material nature acts the same way that surrounds me. It's diva, like divine. I can't cope with it. Maybe I'm too small, I'm too weak compared to the nature. It's space, come on, it's everywhere. Who am I dealing with? What am I dealing with? And this nature is located inside. Just one particle, one perfect copy of this universe. So that's one. First of all, you have to sweep it clean. It's like, you see, now we've created nuclear weapon, now we are flying to the Mars or Moon, and you call it progress. It's called mastering this space. You see, it's like we've done already here, we've spoiled already everything that is on Earth. But how would we do it? How do we do it without affecting all other living entities? Well, you gotta love the wholeness. And how do we love each and everyone in this whole? Well, I can only treat people well. So then, that's why it is said that big love should come from the understanding of the one wholeness of everything. If we understand that we're all united, that we're all one, you can feel this happiness to everyone else. You see, when people get in contact with the animals and plants, microorganisms, everything is pierced with life. So the person actually has relationships with all the creatures. So you see, even dog can feel either the person loves it or it doesn't. Even plants, they do feel something. Because this is the same project, same nature that we have. It's just not developed so high. I saw a plant in India. They would shrink if you scream something. They shrink like that. They close. Even if you touch it, it reacts to your touch. I was so surprised. I was totally shocked. Although I was trying to develop my spiritual view, but when I touched this flower, this plant, I was totally shocked. It turned out it was alive. Okay, and then you plant this plant, and you see it grows, right? And it doesn't happen. But then this plant in India, once you touch it, it shrinks momentarily. How does it know what to do? The person lives everything that is alive, any kind of form of life. And if you're friendly, that means you're in harmony. That's the position of a harmony. So the harmony itself is impossible if you don't master some skills, starting with patience. Please don't mix it up with comfort. In comfort, you see everything is perfect, so you feel totally satisfied. Tiresomeness, it's strange. It's like you do everything. You make everything so comfortable and soft. See, there's one chair that's been invented. Probably it's not produced anymore. So there was a piece of furniture that was reacting to the moves of a person. It was kind of adjusting. It would just follow the movements of your body. So people, they just started being very aggressive or irritated because every time you sit in this chair, just follow all your moves. It's like a person chasing you, doing all these nice things for you all the time. You would just send him away sooner or later. So discomfort, not too much comfort. Same thing when a wife starts serving once to serve to her husband. There's no, don't touch me, too much care. The comfort is actually horrible. It leads to irritation or hatred. Even a person, a child, first you hug it, you rock it, when it just... It's not for the comfort, it's just for him to be taught, to learn something new. So you have to touch him. If mama is angry, sometimes she shakes him off a little, so he feels it, of course. Or she says, she strokes the kid, so he understands what she wants with every stroke. Because she brings him. And she knows what to do. So he feels like he's still inside, in the abdomen, but he's outside now, but the way he reacts to this world is the same. He needs touches. You see, somehow he understands you. You shake him off, or he just feels your words. Doesn't understand anything, but he feels your emotions. But you're not supposed to be doing that for a long time. When the baby gets heavier, it's not comfortable for you to carry him anymore. So then you put this children's feet, then you teach him how to do your laces. So remember when my mother started teaching me to do my laces on the shoes, and I was so reluctant. It's like, no. She said, look, I'm gonna do these and then that. And I said, no, I don't like it. So teach me how to do it in another way. And then my father, he said, what are you talking? This is nonsense. Do your laces. And I said, no, I don't like it. I want to know another way. And then my mother, she's come up with another way. She taught me another method. And I was like, okay, I like this method now. So I'll be doing it this way now. So starting from some stage, a person starts understanding the presence of a person through the eyes. So these tactile senses are not obligatory anymore. Sometimes when a person does not understand your child, right? Sometimes you just gotta beat him up a little bit with a belt, right? That's what we say. So if a person does not understand words, then we should use a stick. But when the child grows, it understands your eyes. A fish controls its babies by just looking at its babies. So these eyes, they control the activity of its babies. So they understand the vision. When there are people looking at them, they understand their state of mind. So when the child is alone, he can do whatever he wants. When he or she sees like, oh, my parents are going to come back in like 10 minutes. They're like, uh-oh, we're going to be in trouble. But you just need to feel the eyes, see the eyes of the parents. A turtle, for example, so you gotta remember what your parents say. So we're lacking this third level, the harmonious families. Sometimes there's nothing that we can pass to our children, nothing spiritual. And then it could pass from one generation to another one. Sometimes we just don't know what to say. A turtle, you see, does not actually bring the babies out, does not raise the so it just have children and it just goes away back into the ocean and it just supports the babies by mind. They're mystics. If you have a turtle, you know that a turtle can ask you for food even when you're sleeping. It can even ask you for food. Never happened to you? It happened to me. So they're able to do that. There are some other snakes, like reptiles. You know that they may be looking at the animal that they want to eat and they control this animal just with their eyes. With its eyes, I'm sorry. Our internal relationships with this person are the most important thing. So we cannot communicate physically, and when love in separation is actually the supreme love. Love in separation is the strongest manifestation of love, the deepest one. So that's why sometimes you're apart, sometimes we're back again. We meet each other, meet each other, get separated. When we do it consciously, of course. We do it according to our duty, for example. See, harmony is like my whim. I just have to know the way it works. So if there are no duties and we just enjoy ourselves in comfort, just irritation, nothing else. No, we say if there's family, there'll be duty. We gotta work, raise our children, give them the education. There's so many responsibilities. Mother, father, more and more responsibilities. What for? To support this harmony. Has to be much more effort. But we haven't developed this love for the living beings, so we gotta have a lot of responsibilities. If we've already learned to listen, we just gotta learn how to listen. So how do you raise a child if you cannot listen to him? How can you live together if we don't listen to each other, we don't hear each other? This is like a torture. A person not able to listen, he's disqualified in every activity. It's better for this person just to work on soil, on land. A very noble activity when he'll do nothing bad. But the harmony will be supported there. He'll start feeling the taste of the smell of earth. After that, he'll understand how a person communicates with this nature, and then he will start understanding something. Noble activity, noble labor, a good family and noble labor, all these things could be united, harmonized. And it's difficult to support harmony when there's a conflict. If it already exists, and then we think, what do we do? So don't try to control material nature. So start with yourself. Always come back to the control of yourself. Don't forget that you gotta control your ego. Control yourself. Raise yourself. By developing yourself, you'll see the world is different. Now the guna will be working. So you start seeing all the things differently now. So there's a fruit. On one side, it's beautiful and nice. On the other one, it's filled with worms. So what side would you prefer? So we see spiritual emanations in this world. So it depends now on how you will create these relationships with people. This is the self-education, this is harmony, this is the progress of a person. This is happening. Every person has some weaknesses or strength. If person has too many weaknesses, we just don't communicate to this person, right? It's not like you hate him or something. Just because otherwise it will deceive you and will be exploiting you. Don't communicate with such people, but if at least there's one good quality, there's some hope. Engage this quality in serving. That's the beginning of the education. So you gotta engage him in doing something. Let it be just one quality, but if it's used, it will develop even further. If someone wants to fire you, but he knows that you have this quality, no one will fire you because of your high qualities, high rank qualities, high level qualities. So there was a spiritual teacher and he had some disciples. He's a known acharya. So he's giving a initiation, two initiations to one person, Brahmanical initiation, Brahman. And almost right after that, his senior disciples came up to him, to this teacher, and said, Guru Maharaj, you've just initiated one person. But what we can say, he's got very many bad qualities, actually. So why did you give him this initiation? Probably it's too preliminary. He's not fully developed yet. He didn't even appreciate this. He will not change. He's a bad personality. Sometimes he offends seniors. He doesn't even know the philosophy so well. Quite shallow. He's very conflictious. But his spiritual teacher was sitting and nodding his head. Yeah, that's right. Everything that you say is right. So he was just agreeing to everything they were saying. So they said everything. And then it just became quiet. But the Guru said, but he's got one good quality. They were like, what? No, we haven't any of them. Rare example. So he said one good example, one good quality, He keeps cleanness. This quality can be developed, and other qualities will start developing from this quality. So you see, it's also a question of practice. If you want to achieve harmony, we should be practicing. Everything in this world is contaminated all the time. That's how this world is functioning. So clothes, body, everything decays. You have to wash yourself. And these are the main things that we should follow. You gotta be clean both inside and from the outside. Gotta be clean from the inside, first of all. So when we are clean, you develop. This tree will give some fruits naturally. This is not our food. This is what the material nature does. Just because if you respect it, will respect you back. If you respect yourself, you will never drink alcohol. If you respect yourself, you will not be eating some impure food or from the hands of a bad person. If you respect yourself, you will never lie or play some games, like forbidden games. If you respect yourself, you will never cheat on your wife or husband. You'll be always truthful to her. This is cleanness, huge power. This is freedom. If a person is clean, you will be given more and more. The cleaner you become, the more respect you'll get. They will listen to every word. But there's always a risk. Remember about that. No one sees my mind. So I can be hiding it. I can be lying. I can be lying even on a high level. I still have this tendency, right? Something to use for myself, but who will understand? I don't know, people trust me. Sometimes you misuse trust or wealth. So that's how it happens in this world. Disharmony. So there's no faith. There's no belief. Back in Vedic times, people would just trust each other because you said so. Your neighbors will trust you, will believe you. If there's a doctor, just trust this doctor. If there's a wealthy person, everybody would just trust him, because only pious people could be rich back then. If there was a king, so he was given this power by God. But now, you see, it's all different. Now we see this wealth and power and position. Now, we don't quite respect it so easily. We obey, of course, but in terms of trust, no, not so easy. So once, Yudhishthira, the king of kings, from Mahabharata, so it was like an open doors day with the complaints, and there were almost no people. So people, they were quite happy. So Praja is such a happiness when everything, everybody is so happy, everything is happy, trees, animals, everyone is in harmony, everything is in harmony. Such a happiness to live in such a world. So Yudhishthira was actually in charge of controlling his life force. And of course, there were some people coming, even with some complaints. And his brother, Bhimasena, the strongest person on that planet. And on that day, there were a lot of people, 4 people, unscheduled. So one came and said, I need to see the emperor. I got a question. I just can't answer it myself. So what's the question, Bhimsen said? You know? So I got a little yard, garden, and there's a fence around it. You know, with every day, this fence steals my land. So I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. The fence is supposed to protect, but this one is actually diminishing my land. You know what's happening? Bhimasena says, no, just go to see the emperor. So I don't know, he controls the Praja. So the person just went away, and then another one came up. He said, I need to see the emperor, I got a problem. What kind of problem do you have? Bhimasena says. So I am actually delivering water. So today I took a bucket, so I poured some water into 5 different vessels, and then I felt something. Then I put this water back into this vessel, and there was much less water. Then I did the same trick. The water just evaporated somewhere. You know what's going on? No, I don't know. Go see the emperor. 5 minutes later, a third person comes up. He says, I need to see the emperor. So when I was riding an elephant, and there's a big fence ahead of me, and there's a big hole in the fence. So the elephant, actually, he went through this fence, but he still got stuck. You know what's happening? So people says, no, I don't know what's happening. Go see the king. And then the 4th person, he said, many person here, but when I was walking here, I saw a mountain. Never seen this mountain before, totally deserted. Just stones and sand, no plants, nothing. Not a single blade of grass, nothing. So just came up there and was so surprised, like, how did it come to be here? Then there was kind of thorn sticking out of this mountain. So just pulled it out. You see, the whole mountain just disappeared. Do you know what happened? Just close to your place. And Bhimasena said, no, everybody just go to Yudhishthira. So then several hours later, no one came out of the hole. So Bhimasena, eventually, he carefully opened up the door, and you see what's happening there? So there was only Yudhishthira there, in meditation, totally balanced, examining peacefulness and happiness, ready to serve everybody. No conflict, just the harmony. He said, like, hey, brother, come back to your senses. There were 4 people. You see them? I said, no, I didn't say anyone. No, what are you saying? I just let everyone in. 4 of them. Bhimsen, tell me about each and every one of them. Who were they? So the first said this story about the fence, his garden, and this fence is just stealing his garden. I sent him to you because I couldn't answer this question. I said Yudhishthira, he started being very worried. What about the next one? What did he say? That one told the story of the water disappearing, and the third one says that the elephant goes through the hole in the fence, but his fence gets stuck. Yudhishthira said, okay, this is the end. So what's happening? His brother demanded. What kind of silly questions? Did you remember the faces? Their faces? Yes, I do. So catch them all, put them to jail. These guys are very dangerous. They're agents of Kali. Yudhishthira, tell me what's happening. What people? What questions? Why are they so dangerous? So listen to me carefully. Since Yudhishthira was totally balanced, he understood it immediately. He had nothing to do except just keeping the balance of the world. There was no other policy. So the first person, so his land is his property, right? So the fence is like the law that is supposed to protect the yard. But in the age of Kali, the law will never protect the property of a person. That's the epoch of degradation. Bhimsen was like, what? The law will never protect the laws, the rules of the people, the rights of the people? Yeah. So people will be trying, but they will have fewer and fewer rights. But the second one, and the water is his life force, he's giving it out to raise his children, but he gets less and less from them. This is the Kali Yuga age. And children will never take care of their parents anymore. Yudhishthira, what are you saying? How is that even possible? I cannot even imagine that. Children will forget their parents? Yes, we must say. This is Kali Yuga. These people are so dangerous. And the third one. The elephant is the big thief. And the hole is the law. In Kali Yuga, big thief gets through the hole unpunished, but the small one gets stuck. So big thieves will not be judged, only the small ones in Kali Yuga. But Yudhishthira, oh my God, what are you saying? Who's going to believe you? Even me, your brother, I can barely even understand what you're saying. How is that even possible? See, in Kali Yuga, the life will be organized only this way. So people will be lying, stealing, and everyone should be punished, right? So you'll be only protected the big thieves. You will only put to jail the small thieves. What a terrible thing, Bhimsen said. So these people, they didn't come to me. They just told you about the problem. You see, they didn't even come to listen to the answer. So these are the most dangerous people. They only talk about problems, but they never listen to the answers. So there's a problem here, there's a problem there. Where's the medicine? Why do we not take medicines? Where's the solution? What's the solution in the Kali age? How do we achieve this harmony? We should be looking for it. It's given to us by Vedas. Listening is the only medicine in the age of Kali. And the fourth person, the king, was a good person. He saw the peak of Kali Yuga, the symbol of Kali Yuga, this mountain. There'll be a lot of dead civilization, these technologies and equipment. The people will achieve so much comfort, everything will be shining, a lot of electrical energy. It's all pretty fine already. A lot of factories and plants and roads and cars. everything illuminated, but people will not feel any life force inside of them. They'll be just drowned in conflicts. They'll be suffering inside of them. They'll be having a lot of diseases and become more and more unlucky and lonely, more lonely. And this thorn was sticking out of the mountain. It was the ability to listen to the divine sound. So when you pull out this thorn, the mountain disappears. That's the illusion. You see, the ocean of sins is just the illusion. So you can just get awakened out of it just by listening to the transcendental sound just one time. Just like when a person is sleeping, you can wake him up with just one sound, right? So rise, stand up, and the person will wake up. So that's how you get awakened. Mantra means sound. And this person is a very good person. So bring this person to me. We'll discuss some very important things. How to prevent the Kali age coming, how to stop this degradation. Only the transcendental sound is able to stop it, because it will uplift your mind and intelligence. All the Vedic mantras, they start with Om sound, just to raise your consciousness. It's the way of the harmony. We've talked about disharmony today as well. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about some practical things, like the daily schedule, like some favorable, unfavorable time during the day. So our life force doesn't get tired, so we have an influx of living force, because you can't possibly feel harmony, because the energy is stale. You will not feel happiness. So let's get to questions now. So can I unite Jesus Christ's prayer and Mahamantra? Yes, thank you for your question. So there's, it's not forbidden, because the truth is one. There are many religions, but the truth is just single. It's not like you can't do this or that. It's a question of our choice. However, a word rasa in Sanskrit means mood. It answers this question. So when you call up to God in happiness, when person feels purification, when he feels approaching the divinity, so this internal deep happiness, this knowledge, influx of revelations, he starts being so happy. Even dances and creativity and love, understanding the philosophy. So something is totally happening within this person. But there are some other mantras that are given to win your sins. For example, I know that I've sinned, and I will not be happy, of course, for that. So this is called another mood, of course, another rasa. So I'll not be dancing and, singing. I'll be asking for forgiveness, actually, that I have sinned, and I'm asking to forgive all my sins. So there are different set of minds, moods, but actually we call up to the same source. So one more question. So my spiritual teachers, they have forgiven me to chant Mahamantra. They say that I would have some problems with my health. So, but the spiritual teachers, they're holy people, right? And I just listen up to them. So what I do? So I respect Christianity, of course. and I read Quran as well, and all these energies are just like food. So if you want to come to God, you can use anyway. So now I am at lost. I don't know what to do. In order to chant Maha Mantra, you need to follow regulative principles. If you follow these 4 regulative principles, I don't think you're going to have any problems. If you do not follow them and you want to chant Maha Mantra, it'll be rasa, phasa, like in correspondence, uncorrespondence. In this way, it'll be harmonious. If you don't change your lifestyle, you'd better not even start chanting Maha Mantra. So I follow these principles, but maybe there's something wrong. Thank you. So there was an example of a bird, fish, and a turtle. So I didn't catch it. But birds. So a bird, when it touches its babies with its wings, they feel it, of course. That's how they raise their children. So they get under its wings, and they just live there. So they're born without feathers, but they just feel the warmth of their mother. A fish can control the babies with eyes, and the turtle with its intelligence, mystic mind. So hello, I'm so happy to be here face to face with you. So how do you define freedom? So it turns out there's no freedom actually, it's all relative. And especially freedom to man. When man says that I'm free, that I can do whatever I want, I have children, 5 children, but I did it when I was young. But now it's not interesting to me, now I'm going to be spiritual. How do we explain it? No, this is just something that he imitates. So, according to his nature, man is free. So his purpose is to be free. Women are less free according to their nature. She's more dependent on her husband and children. She's more sensual. She's got her advantages and disadvantages, just like man, you know. He's not so sensual, but he's more free. And for him, it is very important to be free, but not to be in a family. So how do we unite these things? So Puranas say that when a man gets married, he becomes weaker. On the contrary, woman becomes stronger. So it's more favorable for the woman. So now how do we build these relationships? How do we build this family correctly? So a man, when he is married, he gives 50% of his virtue to his woman, to his wife. So he was like a swan, unmarried swan, attractive because they're free, they promise a lot, they can do a lot, enthusiastic. But then when he gets married, okay, he comes down to earth. He gets hitched by a wife. Now he's grounded. It's very practical. Women are practical. So men, they don't fly so high anymore because he is attached by a string to his wife. So how does she respect his freedom? Because he reveres him. Because everything she does, she actually serves to her man. Because she's using this 50% of his virtue to serve him. That's how he may feel free, if he's pure. He's not pure in his actions or feelings. He's not going to be so free because his wife, she'll be suspecting something, right? This will be like a prison to him. When he gets to prison, he thinks that, okay, now I know about this spiritual life, I just leave my family behind and I go and develop spiritually. No, it's just imitation. So the real freedom is fearlessness. You're not supposed to be fearing something. If you're married, don't get divorced. If you're free, don't get married. If you're afraid of each and everything, you are afraid of Being married, you're not even a man. You'll never be free. You're a slave. So there's no freedom. Freedom is fearlessness. So how do we define freedom? We just walk along the land. I cannot even bend my hand to the other direction. I can't even scratch my back. Come on. So family, work, I'm always tied up to something. It's the internal understanding, the fearlessness. So when you live this life, being totally fearless. So when I get it as an award and I get rid of all my fears, this is the understanding. So your body anyways, it goes to grave, right? You gotta liberate your spirit. So when the person says, look at how much free I am, I'm so fearless. So I'm gonna go to Kailas alone. It's a great mountain. I'll cut off my fingers, something, Shiva put them back on again. So look at, so this is the first time I hear such silly things. So what kind of men do we have these days? Are there normal men here? Everyone just wants to go to Kailas and have their fingers cut off. Craziness, insanity. What kind of festival are we having? Insanity or virtue today? Benefiction. So that's the life that we should accept and achieve perfection, not violating the laws of this world, not turning it into hell or paradise. Hello, thank you so much for your lecture. So if you've noticed, there's a lot of information about self-understanding, realization, and there are many ways to achieve it. And as we see, one of the ways to wake up and to pacify our mind are the spiritual practices, and as experience shows, so we gotta dedicate a lot of years to that, to feel this stable condition that I'm not this mind, and to have ourselves awakened. So I found some other schools, like the school of Gennady Given. So they actually develop themselves with the help of meditations and silence, but not through spirituality. And then people can achieve this stable condition of awakening, as they call it, when they understand that I'm not this mind, and they start living in this condition qualitatively totally differently. So I'm interested in what you think about it. So how do you understand it? And are there some other instruments except for these spiritual methods that can awaken us as well? So let me just pronounce something. You can chant it together with me. Just one note, right? Different octaves, right? The one note. So your question was another octave. The note is the same, but octave is different. So take any spiritual practices. All of them, they use the way of denunciation. Renunciation. So you just gotta sit up straight and forget about everything. Otherwise, you will never get pacified. You will never get this shanti. This is the way of renunciation. So you live your good life, you eat good food. So this will be easier for you to be renounced, to get free from these attachments, some discomforts, because your life is good and you try to automatically use it. You just renounce and you understand. You chant Shanti, Shanti, peacefulness, so peacefulness is happiness. But this is a different octava. So there's active and passive samadhi on different octavas. So the mechanical process, when you just sit up straight and use some asanas, breathing techniques, this is all mechanics. And you choose some level of balance. But there's also a method when you engage your feelings or senses in this service. You don't subdue them, but engage them. So this is called active samadhi. You just live externally, normal life, but you do it in a spiritual aspect, oktava. You choose for yourself which oktava you want to do it in. But anyways, that's the way of renunciation. Before this, they're all united. So someone reaches for nirvana or bhakti, like, you gotta understand, you do this renunciation for what? For what or for whom? Your true purpose. What is it that we want to get finally? Just to be peaceful, or there's something else? Or to understand what my spiritual form is? There are some, different purposes. You just choose it according to your purpose. That will bring you to the final destination. Thank you once again for such an amazing lecture. Where are you? So you said that everything happens under the influence of the nature. So what is our mission here as jivas, as souls? So what's the process of escape or get rid of all these gunas of passion and ignorance? So if the nature acts, so what is it that I do? So which energy do I use? Or does the nature use? My energy. My soul is being exploited. So my purpose is to engage my nature in service. Not to be an instrument of this nature, but to use it as an instrument for the supreme purpose, in this case. And then I start acting, being inactive. This is called akarma. You act and you reap no fruits. You just get liberated with such an activity. Just like money, you can work for money, you can use money for something supreme. This is the way when we use material nature for the supreme purpose. Something that we use as an instrument for the spiritual liberation. And otherwise, when this nature just subdues me, puts me down to these gunas again. So a donkey, when it's loaded with some bricks or something, but it thinks that he's working. He does it because he wants to do it because he's promised a carrot or a piece of grass. It's being exploited, but he thinks that he's achieving something. He doesn't achieve anything, he's just being exploited, right? He still stays a donkey, doesn't change anything. He could have easily gotten this grass anywhere else, in any other place. It's plenty. It's plenty of grass everywhere, just because it's silly. A person is doing the work, right? But he engages this donkey in the work. But this donkey is so proud of, carrying all this load. He feels to be so important. And the more silly it is, the more easy it is to exploit it. So if I got it correctly, so we purify our consciousness by cultivating our righteous desires to transfer these, to transfer my nature. So how do I inspire a man for the spiritual development? Man that does not even want to hear or listen. So there are two reasons why a man does not want to hear anything. First of all, he cannot accept, it's difficult for him to accept the authority of his man just because of his ego. Maybe it's not such a big of a problem. He may just hear something by himself because his wife sometimes speaks something. But he's very rebellion, actually. That's one aspect. He goes away. Eventually, just gotta be patient. Don't just preach all the time. Don't push him. Gotta be more mild. Just help him. But the other aspect, He's a demonic person. Because he hates all these spiritual practices and he thinks that all these things are harmful and disorientates people. He'll be aggressive, feeling aggressive. And it's hard to do anything. If you bring a horse to the water, to a river, and if it doesn't want to drink, it will not drink. You can't make a horse drink water. You can't practice spiritually if there's no desire. Impossible. So I got a question here again. So you've been giving these lectures for a long time, and you've been giving some instructions. So I wanted to ask, so how do we influence people to inspire them? Because you've got this experience, can you advise us something? Well, okay, I'll maybe tell you some secrets. It's a good question, of course. I think we all should inspire each other. Like, call up to the audience and ask you, how do you manage to inspire me? If there were no audience, I would feel no motivation, and I feel this energy, right? We're all alive. We are souls. And of course, it supports me. I didn't plan out to give any public lectures. I didn't even plan to preach. I couldn't even understand it when I was little. At school, there were two abnormal children that couldn't even come up to the blackboard. So they felt totally paralyzed. And of course, children knew about these children. They would never call them up to the blackboard. So they would just talk to them personally, right? So one of the children was me. So of course, I couldn't plan out all these public speeches. If I were to go and give a public speech back then, I wouldn't be able to do that, definitely. So I can tell you, of course, about the source of my personal inspiration. Everyone can feel it, but it can be manifested not only in lectures. In popularity, I'm kind of famous, but it's not the success. There are some hurdles and difficulties in it. And of course, you know it very good. So the success is to be a happy person and compassionate. So that's when we reach a success. All is given to get happiness. Happiness and compassion to all the living entities. So you'll be independent. From success, from glory, you'll be just surprisingly happy inside of you. And everyone that will get into contact with you, you'll get happy as well. You can't just stop it. You can't even stop an ant. You can also kill it, but anyways, it will get to where it was going to. Because it's a living soul. So if it gets into your heart, you will not be able to do anything. So this river will flow into the ocean sooner or later. You'll do nothing about it. Become happy, that's what I'm talking about. I'm a bad lecturer. I mean, my speech is far from being perfect from the professional point of view. But I'm ready to speak. I have the desire, especially when I feel these relationships, these spiritual relationships, and I start living through these relationships. So the way I see them out in the streets and when I see them here, there's different things. So one person told me once that he teaches something to students, first to second year students. So he starts speaking about spirituality and morality. And I said, do they understand you? There's so much information in this world now. He said, yeah. They understand everything. They even draw really good conclusions. It's just amazing. They understand so well that I'm saying. But you know what? There's one side, another one. So they're quite open to bad things the same way. So here they're like saint. But then when you see what they're doing outside, it's crazy. It's horrible. It's just like parallel, two parallel things. They're not confirmed yet. We're not stable in it. We're all souls, but we're not stable. We all feel some holy things, sacred things. There's a good tendency in Russian of good people, intelligent people. They want to practice spiritual things, to shake off all the bad things and start developing spiritual. But still there's some instability, some habits, compromises. We'll have all these things. It's like a duality that we'll have inside of us. And I feel so pity that some people, they just go downwards. They just go down. When people, they just go bad. They just get spoiled. Most of the people are good. Most of them are good. But sometimes just go down. And of course, I want to do something. I want to say something. I want to help you. So that's the way I feel. So we only have 5 minutes left, so last question. So man gives 50% of his good karma to his wife, and then it gets compensated by the way she serves him. 50% of his virtue he gives to his wife as his best half, and she gives it back by serving. And then you take 50% of your negative karma, and that's like, what? It turns out to be 0? Wow, everything is even worse than I thought. So then I don't know what to do. Now, family is balanced when a wife is devoted to her husband, and a husband is devoted to God. So that's when it's safe. What is transcendentality? What is transcendental? What does it mean? I think it's kind of an English word. So there was a phenomenon in America at the start of the 19th century. So Emerson, American transcendentalist. Transcendental means above material, something that is higher, more supreme, or spiritual. So these synonyms. Something that is higher than material things, above mind or sensual perception, or metaphysical. Also, you can call this way. It sounds fancy. But the essence is just spiritual, transcendental spiritual. When you say spiritual, it doesn't sound so fancy. But when you say he's transcendental, it sounds really cool. 3 more minutes. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to ask a question. So now this time we have families, separated families, divorced families, right? And some of them, they've already started new families. And in such conditions, there are a lot of questions of how do we behave with both of these families. So today your lecture is devoted to harmony. So if we are in this situation, how do we reach harmony? And many Vedic lecturers, they give lectures about the relationships between men and women, husbands and wives. But the perfect situation is when you live in just one family, right? But what if we already have two families? So how do we harmonize it? And if it's possible, can you give us in the future some lecture about these relationships? Yeah, we've mentioned such phenomenon. You gotta be really careful here, because now, because in the past times, when people used to be somehow different, they didn't have so much envy, they were healthier. They used to have several wives, actually. So if you read Puranas, it was like a usual thing, a normal thing back then. Especially was about like military people or kings. So they're very passionate according to the nature. So they always used to have many wives. But at least they knew how to support this family correctly. Now, we don't have this knowledge anymore, so I gotta be really careful here. I don't recommend these things, in no way. You gotta get into a trap. If you have 2 wives or 3 wives, that's gonna be a big problem. You just deal with one wife first. And divorces, we can't stop it so abruptly. You can't pull over a train that is moving on a full speed. So what do we do in this situation? You gotta concentrate not only on your relationships in marriage, but on the children that you already have. In this case, it can save you. So we take care of the children if we can't live together anymore. So you gotta go, you gotta have some sacrifices. Children, they hear everything, that's the big problem. So you gotta defend people, protect people, protect your children from our mistakes and curses. Family life is totally cursed in the age of Kali. So now we're only getting some knowledge. So we're totally impatient, no reverence, no tolerance. That's why we become enemies. And children, they see, and we have these impressions. And then these children, of course, they go through so many miseries. Now, don't think about your own happiness. Think about your children. So you have to cooperate with your wife or husband for the favor of your children. Renounce from your egoism, from your ego. So you gotta sacrifice some. Do not sacrifice your children, but sacrifice yourself. See, if you sacrifice children for just my own benediction, favor, no, that's really stupid, that's silly. Donkey's consciousness. So you gotta take care of the children that you already have. Doesn't matter how many of them you have, or from which wives you have them. That's what we give to the world. So that's why we said that spirituality is necessary. So how else can you practice it? You gotta practice it every day. Practice spirituality every day. There's no other way you can raise normal children. How do you wish happiness to a person that you love? It's like, we say, if you don't know this person, wish him happiness. But if you do know this person, you don't wish him happiness anymore. Like animals, It all comes down to this right now. So we've been looking for a second half of harmony that have been lying together just for this sensual gratification. Problem. Psychiatric hospital. So first, let's just take care of our children, switch from our egoism to our children. So why do we need these ruined lives? You'll get everything from them. Everything will be given back to you for what you had done. So do not sacrifice your own children and don't kill them in the abdomen. We are talking about family life. Please keep this purity, this chastity. This is our main condition that we have to teach our children, and they have to do even better in the future. So thank you so much. I'm sorry for that.